Well, Mervin, it serves you right. I told you that I had absolutely and unequivocally had it with you flooding this house. Out of desperation and despair, I rigged the toilet so that everything, and I mean everything, that gets flushed down it gets sucked into a universal black hole. The real deal, mind you. A gravity well with an event horizon. There's nothing you can shove down there that can cause it to overflow anymore. The battles are over. The war is finished. You've lost. Nobody likes a sore loser, Mervin. Be that as it may, that bathroom floor took a lot of damage during the conflict. This is your house. That is your floor. You are the one who destroyed it. You are the one who is going to have to get the mold off of it before the repairmen come back. Don't blame me for the fact that the bathroom wasn't waterproof. When Orville and I first moved into this house, we tried to get the bathroom fixed after your initial floods. The plumber installed a temporary floor after you destroyed the original. It's your fault that the temporary floor is as bad off as it is. Stick and peel wasn't meant to contain, so keep peeling away those tiles, Mervin. Once you're done, I'll call the plumber and have him come out here and start work on waterproofing a new bathroom for us. Because, Mervin, you destroyed that floor, so you have to take it out. Why should the repairmen have to deal with mold? Remember this while you scratch those tiles off the floor. Don't forget that toilet can now suck anything into a black hole, no matter what shape or size. Just keep that doozy of a fact in mind. Your silence says I'm understood.
Mama M.T, Jason still hasn't stirred. Is it time for his injection yet?
I don't think he needs them anymore. I'll check him in a bit. He should be okay for now, Jingles.
What about Ollie? Are his meds due?
No, he's good for now, too.
What about Mervin?
He's not on any medication, is he?
Not that he shouldn't be. No, he isn't, Mama M.T. Do you want me to stay up here and watch him?
No, Jingles, you can come down here and rest a while. I think Mervin has been properly motivated.
Oh, boy.
What's the matter, Jingles?
I'm tired, Mama M.T. I'm really tired.
That much I could tell without asking. What's on your mind, son?
Before this house, before Orville, before Mervin, my life was so much simpler. All I did was work on a TV show with Lazar. Never on my worst day did I ever feel as worn out as I do right now.
With great responsibility comes a heavy weight upon our souls, Jingles. It's a trying time in our lives. It is also one we must shoulder with dignity and valor, at least as much as possible.
How, Mama M.T.? How do you do it so well?
Do you really think I do it so well, Jingles?
Are you kidding? You're like a rock. I only wish I had half your stamina, your courage, your resolve, your reserves. Most of the time I feel as though I'm running on empty.
I'm no saint. I have my feelings just as everyone else does. It just so happens that in the series of events that have been playing out, we've had one common foe, if you will, my son, Orville. Regardless of which version has been present, it's always been my son. I know him better than anyone else, so I know how to handle him. With that comes an advantage. If it had been anyone else we were dealing with, I would be as you are now, exhausted and ready for a long, long nap.
That does sound pretty good. A nice long nap that lasts for days and days. If only. There's just so much one can do. Middle-aged Orville leaving us with Mervin. Old Orville leaving us with Ollie. Or maybe that's best left attributed to young Orville. He did leave us with a destroyed kitchen and a cure for carbuncles. Don't these things ever make you angry, Mama? These things Orville does that leaves us holding the bag.
Indeed they do, Jingles, indeed they do. So does the thought that we will fail. So does the thought that we will fail to deal with his problems sufficiently or correctly. It's one thing to be handed a problem. It's another thing entirely to solve it. If we fail, that means someone could die. That thought angers me a great deal.
How do you keep your anger in check?
I know, through a long life lived, where anger leads. If we let anger run loose, it leads down a winding and weary path, one fraught with danger. Uncontrolled thoughts, bad attitudes, unchecked behavior, thoughts that have nothing to do with the problem at hand, things said often regretted, friendships lost forever, all this resulting from anger.
How do you keep yourself from getting angry, Mama M.T.? With Ollie being so sick, with Jason being in a coma, with us being virtually helpless about both of those things, how do you keep your anger in check day after day?
I always remind myself that the destination of anger is fear, and that fear has no place in my life. The only way to avoid fear, to repress anger, is a life lived with love in it, be it love for you, Jingles, for Jason, for Ollie, or yes, even Mervin. We must love everyone in our lives.
You're a wise woman, Mama M.T., wise beyond the years of anyone on this planet, maybe any other too.
Like I said, Jingles, take my son out of this situation and put someone else in, and I might not be as calm as I am now. However, with whatever grace I do have, I am grateful that I can give it to the circumstances currently going on under this roof.
Before men learned how to control fire and put it to work, it was man's greatest enemy. In much the same way, your emotions can be your own greatest enemy. Or, under control, your emotions can make you healthier and happier and improve the lives of people around you. I think of fire in connection with emotions because when you become stirred up, when your emotions control your actions, it affects not only yourself, but the people around you. Psychologists find that control of emotions can be gained by understanding the stimulus-response pattern. When you have certain experiences, you respond with various emotions. stimulus response. Just as this sort of stimulus produces this sort of involuntary muscular response. Well, that's a rather simplified suggestion of a complex mental process, but you get the idea. Cause, effect. Nature endows us at birth with three general patterns of emotional response. Rage is the response to the primary stimulus of thwarting, something interfering with our behavior, our actions. Fear is the response to loud noises or loss of support. And the emotional response to love is usually the result of a show of affection or favors. And these seem to be the emotions with which we start life. Then as we grow up, many everyday things and social situations become associated with these primary stimuli, partly by a process called conditioning. And so many things and people cause us to respond emotionally. And in general, that's good, for there are many factors involved in a personality. And a balance of emotions is important to a well-rounded personality. But emotions out of control, well, let's take a look at a slice of everyday life to understand how some stimuli can bring about various emotional responses. What might happen to you, or to me, or to Jeffrey Moore? Jeff is an ordinary and healthy and well-balanced young fellow. He usually gets along well with people. And on this particular Friday afternoon, Jeff and his pals are discussing a big triple date tonight.
My dad's gonna let me have that car tonight.
Oh, the car? That's super. That sounds swell, Jeff, but, well, I don't know if I'll be able to go. I got quite a headache.
Got a headache, huh?
Yeah.
Well, how about letting Jeff, the old soda jerk, fix you up a snappy seltzer?
Okay. Hey, watch out. You're going some jerk.
Yeah. Okay, Bub. I saw the whole Y stunt. Now, just suppose you clean it up.
Go on, wise guy. Clean it up.
Yeah, it's right on the floor there. Look at the wash moving.
Wise guys, huh? Well, suppose I don't pick you up tonight. I got a darn good notion to let you guys walk to the park.
What got into him?
Gee, I don't know.
Why is Jeff angry? What's the stimulus that brings on this sudden emotional response of anger or mild rage? Well, it might be that Jeff feels thwarted as he fails in the fancy trick to impress his pals. So he gets mad at his pals. And now it's later than he thought. He tries a shortcut, hurrying to get home.
Great Scott, who in the world left that there? What a time to water the lawn.
The shortcuts often lead to trouble, and thus loss of emotional control. You've heard, haste makes waste. Jeff is frustrated by the sprinkler, but he asked for it. Of course, Jeff's going to get the car ready for the party tonight. He wouldn't really miss a chance to impress the gang. But, starter won't work. Again, his behavior is thwarted, and a habit is being developed. A habit of allowing such things to annoy him. Jeff's losing control of himself. His thinking is becoming muddled, and he's careless in his actions. The madder he gets, the worse it becomes. Did you ever hear anyone say, "I was so mad I couldn't see straight"? Severe emotional stress often decreases efficiency. See what I mean? And of course, it's the fault of the wrench. This is called projection. He's projecting the blame to the wrench. Well, we've seen Jeff lose control of himself in rage. Let's see how the rest of the family is doing.
Mother, oh, it's wonderful. I love the new dress you made.
Oh, thank you, Joan, dear.
See how the new dress tends to stimulate Joan's love for Mother? This makes both Mother and Joan happier. But how does it affect Jeff? And how does his anger affect the others?
Oh, you're the sweetest, bestest mother a girl ever had.
I'm glad you like the dress, Joan.
Oh, I'm so happy. I could be a model. Or a cover girl.
Hey, what's gotten into that crazy kid's sister?
Oh, Jeff, don't be that way.
Notice how Mother seems to become angry herself because of Jeff's anger. Perhaps she shouldn't, but anger is a violent emotion, and we often see an induction of behavior or spread of emotion to other persons, almost like a contagious disease.
Hi, Raj.
Hello, Jeff.
Say, what have you got? Well, that's my letter. Give me that.
Let me.
Why,
I got your
you
letter.
dirty little sneak. You gonna give me that letter? You gonna give it to me?
No.
Okay. I'll show you up.
Mother!
You dirty sneaking brother, you gonna give me my letter?
Stop it!
Will you give me that letter? I'll teach you not to open my mail.
I didn't know about him! Stop it!
Drop that coat hanger.
Sometimes rage, fear, and love are aroused together at the same time. Mother's love of her children and her fear for Roger's safety were mixed with anger, almost rage, at both boys for the part they played in the flare-up. Of course, Jeffrey's family didn't realize that he had been exposed to one irritating situation after another, an accumulation of stimuli which brought about an abnormally strong response. And what did this do to Jeff, this sort of uncontrolled emotional outburst? Well, he regrets some of the things he said, but he can't unsay them. He's tired. That feeling of fatigue may spoil a good time on his date tonight. And if this sort of flare-up is repeated often, it might lead to a permanently warped personality. What could Jeff do to keep better control? Well, we say he could, 1, eliminate the stimulus, 2, modify the stimulus, or 3, modify the response. With these 3 ideas in mind, let's examine Jeff's episode again. To control his emotions, Jeff eliminates the stimulus, the failure to impress his pals, by trying such fancy tricks only when he can do them successfully. But sometimes the trick fails. There are many times when you can't eliminate the stimulus. Try to modify the stimulus. Standing off and looking at himself, Jeff realizes that a slip like that won't really hurt his standing with the gang. Taking it all lightly as a good sport, Jeff impresses the gang a lot more than if he gets angry over such a little thing. It helps to recognize and understand the emotional patterns. Then it's easier to eliminate or modify the stimulus. And there's another, even more valuable way to control your emotions. Modify the response. Rather than get in the habit of getting angry, Jeff can substitute. He can modify his response by seeing the humor in the situation. What good does it do to get angry about this? When Jeff's in the habit of controlling his emotions, his thinking is straighter. Push the button. No starter. Let's see. Pull the light switch. No light. That means something. Reason it out. No horn either. So, must be a dead battery. That's straight thinking, unmuddled by emotional disturbances. And it's a simple thing to call the garage or someone for a push and a recharge. No need to fly off the handle and take it out on the things and the people around. When he tries to understand his emotions and those of people around him, Jeff has less trouble controlling himself, and he and those around him are happier. The more he exercises control of his emotional behavior, the easier it becomes to meet the next situation without losing control.
Well, how about it? Either the plane or the letter.
And so it goes. A happier time all around when emotions are under control.
Hey, Raj, how about you help me get the car pushed out of the garage so we can get it started and fixed up for tonight? You know, if the car's running, I can drop you off the movies tonight before I go out.
Yes, by a better understanding of the emotional patterns of everyday life, and by knowing how you respond to various stimuli, you can develop better control by eliminating the stimulus, or by modifying the stimulus, or by modifying the response. You can control the fire of your emotions. You can balance your emotions and use them so that your personality becomes more pleasant. And you and those around you are a great deal happier and healthier.
I do not understand why he remains in a coma, Jingles. All of his vital signs are normal. His temperature, his blood pressure, his oxygen level are all perfect. There is no reason for him to remain unconscious.
Could this be a mental issue instead of physical?
Negative, Jingles. I've scanned his brain with every possible means available to me, some even unknown to Earth physicians. All the scans came back fine. Whatever is going on here does not fall within medical consideration.
He was under the influence of the overseer longer than anyone else, far longer than Jason and Ollie.
True. Even so, I see no reason for that to have an impact on his current status.
There was one other person who was in that group, at least for a time. Perhaps, just perhaps.
Yes, I'd completely forgotten about young Sylvester. Call him Jingles.
He's already told me everything he remembers. Still, the memory is a funny thing. Sometimes it recalls things formerly forgotten.
Hello?
Sylvester, hi. This is Jingles. How are you doing?
Nipsey just blew up the chimney.
Huh? What? Nipsey, if I ever get my hands on you.
It was an accident. He wanted to inflate a hot air balloon, but he did it in the fireplace. The balloon blew up the chimney. Then the chimney exploded. All the bricks are everywhere.
Oh no.
Mama Bear passed out.
Sylvester, I know this isn't the best time to ask you for a favor.
Nah, go ahead, Jingles. Allison is taking care of everything. She told me to keep aside while she... Well, I don't know what she's going to do.
Do you want me to come over there to help?
Allison, Jingles wants to know if you need any help. No, Jingles. No, unless she forgot to raise one finger. No, she's got it under control.
Okay. Listen, Sylvester. When you were with Mervin, Jason, and Ollie, do you remember anything about that time that you haven't told anyone? It might really help us with Jason. He's still unconscious.
Oh, wow, I'm sorry. I hope he gets better. I'd kind of forgotten all about that time. Let's see. They weren't the greatest of guys to be around, so I only stayed with them for a few hours. That big raccoon guy, he was scary. He frightened me a lot.
Do you recall anything about him that you couldn't remember before?
Wait a second. right after we left the pond, we were taken to a place that was blue. There, the raccoon guy made each of us take an oath.
What kind of oath, Sylvester?
It was really strange. He didn't tell us what it was all about, just that if we ever left the group, we'd regret it. Then we had to agree to remain loyal to the group forever. Then we stood in a circle and put our right hands in the center, on top of each other's. The raccoon guy put his right hand on all of ours, and a blue energy beam went through the other's hands but not mine.
What happened next, Sylvester?
The big raccoon looked at me kind of funny-like, then said that we'll address this little issue later. I looked up at him for a while, then he turned around and disappeared. After that, we left the blue place and went to this other place where I ran off from the group once they started beating someone up.
I see. Thank you so much, Sylvester. You've been incredibly helpful. If there's ever anything I can do to repay you, don't hesitate to ask.
I didn't do it!
Nipsey, if you break one more thing...
I may just take you up on that. I better go. Have a good night, Jingles.
You too, Sylvester. I think we have our answer, Mama M.T. This is of the Overseer. Sylvester just told me that the Overseer did something to the group, to Mervin, to Ollie, to Jason, that if they ever left him, that something would happen to them. The Overseer put some kind of energy in their hands, into them, and evidently this is the result.
Whatever the Overseer attempted to do wasn't strong enough to affect all three followers. Mervin and Ollie seem to have escaped his spiritual edict, as it were, at least for now. Jason, having been transported to an otherworldly affair, however, was not so fortunate.
What are we going to do, Mama M.T.?
We know the source of the problem now.
Yes, we do, but what good does that...
We'll have to go to the source of the problem.
You mean?
Yes, we'll have to go to see the Overseer.